Welcome back this morning, YouTube friends and family. Get yourself a cup of coffee. You're going to find on good old cold mornings like this, I'm going to have that coffee cup going most of the day. Of course, I will be honest, I'll drink some decaf, even though I know the process of taking caffeine out of the coffee is not the healthiest. Sometimes I think I'd probably be just as well off to drink the caffeinated coffee. In today's blog, I'm going to give you another update on the greenhouse as I continue to work in my greenhouse. And remember, this is my first year with a greenhouse, but if you'd like to follow along and see how everything progresses, why not click the subscribe icon and the notification bell and follow along. See how I learn as I'm learning to use an unheated greenhouse. It's very cold this morning, as you're going to see in the video. And towards the end of it, I show you my country fence for my backyard. As you listen to the video, you'll realize that it was quite an ordeal finding somebody that put up a country fence. Everybody wanted to put up chain link. I'm not in the city. I don't want a city fence. I wanted a country fence. All right, get yourself a cup of coffee and sit back and enjoy this video. If you like the video, at the end of the video, I'll have a link to a playlist that will show all the updates on my greenhouse. So I hope you'll enjoy it. And Lily Mae, Lily Mae loves to lean on the camera, don't you? Do you want to say hello to everybody, Lily Mae? Lily Mae, don't show them your butt. Say hello to everybody. Can you say hello? All right, let's get on with the video. Enough foolishness. Well, it's Wednesday, January 10th, 7:02 a.m. It's currently 31 degrees here in Crossville. And looks like it'll be about 9 o'clock before we get to freezing, about 11 o'clock before, well, I guess actually between 10 and 11 before we get to above freezing. All right, it's certainly a brisk cold morning out here this morning. I need to go out and see what all's going on at the greenhouse. If I turn around this way, you can see right over here is the greenhouse behind the dog fence. And it's covered with ice this morning. As you can see on the ground there, we've got what we typically refer to as just a skiff of snow. That means it really didn't accumulate to anything. Well, as we walk out here to the greenhouse, you're going to see, because I'm going to turn this camera around and point it on the greenhouse instead of this old man here, but it's quite covered up with snow and ice. As you can see, all the condensation is frozen on it, and the very top of the greenhouse is covered in a layer of ice pellets and snow. And out there, let's see if we can focus them in a little bit better. I went out this morning, fed the chickens and let them out. Cold weather certainly doesn't affect their appetite at all. I will have to say that this summer I'm going to have to do a little bit of ditching. I tried doing it in the ground that was leveled, but we're on rock right over there in that corner, and I mean on top of rock. So there really is no digging of a ditch there, but as you can see, I'm having a little bit of problem here with the water coming in, but it doesn't seem to be affecting anything. Now, I did put 2 frost covers over everything again last night, and right here, as you can see, I've got a third one. And it's still fairly dry. Now, once it warms up, it will rain in here. All of this condensation that's up here frozen on that will turn loose as it gets hot. And as you can see, I never did finish painting my barrel black. And at least those portions there that face the sun have been painted black. And I'll have to say that 55-gallon drum of water has been doing quite well collecting water. I put 2 covers over all the crops, including the broccoli. And right now, as you can see, we're setting above freezing, but it's still very cold in here. The real test is going to come later this week, I think in the next 10-day forecast, we've got one night where it's supposed to get down to 3 degrees Fahrenheit. That's going to be quite cold. And yeah, I've been lazy. I've not carried in the materials to fill that up, but let's be honest. I've got a lot here growing. I've got more than I can actually harvest myself. Some of it's actually been taken out and given to the chickens as chicken feed. But I need to get all that stuff done. And there's some other little projects out here that I need to work on. Yes, it's cold out here right now, but we're supposed to have some partly cloudy skies today. Couldn't tell that from looking now. There's no sun at all. But if we do, and the sun starts shining in, it'll probably be up into the 60s in here. Be a good time to work out here. And yes, there stands Sally Brown. Sally Brown doesn't care if it's raining. She's like a little water dog. I tell you what, it was raining really hard yesterday, and she was constantly wanting to get out here and run and bark and go from fence to fence as fast as she could. She's a pretty good little dog, but I can tell she's a little cold this morning. I think she's about ready to go in. But without this fence, which I hadn't shown you guys, so let me go in and walk around the fence and show you what we did here. Maybe hard to tell what I'm saying because my poor little puppy is definitely going to be barking. Right there, we left that. We couldn't have got it any closer because that's where the Generac generator comes in, that pipe, so we had to be on the outside of it, but that allows the cats to go on the other side of the fence without having to climb over. And we came out from the house right beside the door, and that door is to the garage, and of course there's my water spigot where I get my water to wash off things, put a garden hose on, etc. That's an exterior. I did put in just a farm gate because I wanted this whole thing to be country looking. When I first got quotes, everybody wanted that I talked to wanted to put up a chain link fence. I don't live in the city. I don't want a chain link fence. I want a farm fence. I want this to look country. So I got my handyman. He put it up himself. And those blocks there, those little pavers, that's just to keep the dog from digging under that. And I know she may eventually learn she can dig under that other fence, but there's lots of garden staples down through that as well. But we come down to the corner here, and from this corner back behind here, if you see, I've got, of course, my little bird feeder there. That was where my little cottage style garden was last year. I've now put approximately 1,300 plus bulbs, and they're not all in there. I sowed this yard full of crocus bulbs. Crocus can grow through the grass. By the time it gets up, it'll probably bloom in February, and I won't need to start mowing typically until the end of March, and by then all the bulbs should have plenty of strength for the next year's blooms. It's always worked for me before, so hopefully it will here too. There's another fence so I can go directly out to my bench and to the garden there. Now, this will have a fence around it because I have a terrible problem with the deer. I think with the fence around a fence around a fence, I'll have a deer moat, and so hopefully they'll stay out. We come down to the corner here and we turn back towards the garden. Now, down on this corner here, that's just coming down to the garden. As you can see, it's a pretty good distance from the garden. I think we measured it out and it's about 5 foot. There will be some cattle panels put around the garden there just to create that deer moat that I want. And it will continue from this corner all the way up there. Now I've got to decide if I want to go there. I'm pretty sure I'm going to go there. I could come back here and go alongside the back of what will be the cottage garden, because the cottage garden will be much bigger this year. And as I said, there's a lot of bulbs there, and several climbing roses if they've survived this weather. Okay, from this corner you can look over and you can see the other corner, and we'll come back and finish the other back portion. But this goes up, and this is my orchard. That's all of my apple trees, plum trees, pear trees, and cherry trees. And then we go all the way up to the corner here. And from this corner, we come right up to the corner of the house. And here we had no cables or anything to worry about, so we put a post just to keep the dog from going through there. But this gives this little rambunctious rascal here plenty of room to play. And yes, she's digging holes all over the place, but I've already determined she's smelling things in the ground. She's brought up a couple of shrews, and if she wants to dig up shrews in my garden or moles, let her have them. They're pests for a gardener. And this goes back to the back corner. And from here, the fence goes down to the back side of the property. Now, this is not the property line. And when you look at this, you'll say, well, what do you have those two supports on that? Well, those supports are not really supports to keep that from falling backwards. It's to keep that post in. That post is cemented in, but it's right on top of the ground. And that, if you can see it there, that red T-post is my property line. Now, Puppy's constantly barking. We go up this way, and I intend to set another bench up under this humongous tulip poplar tree. That'll be just a nice place when I'm out here gardening to come out and sit. But we come up to the back side of the garden and go up to the other corner that we've already been at. So it's given her quite an area to run. Are you running like the wind, little girl? Did you tell everybody you could run like the wind? Yes, you can. You can run like the wind. And that's not her high speed. Sometimes she goes through here so fast it's unreal. I tell her then she's running like the wind. And I never did take the silage tarps off, but that ground's just as soft as it can be. So I'll be here come spring, and hopefully there'll be corn, different types of peas planted, different types of squashes planted. And when I say squash, winter squash, pumpkins, things of that nature. I do like my butternut squash and things like that. And of course, I'll have plenty of tomatoes to plant, because I do use a lot of tomatoes in my soups and chilies and things like that. And I did get that apple tree cut back. I wasn't going to cut it back quite that extreme, but I thought I'd be here when they cut it, and I had to be away for a day, and I'll be. That's when they came and cut it. There's a few branches there that might have a little apple on them, but it's going to take it a year at least to grow out some new limbs to have apples on. Sometimes you can cut things back too extreme, but I'm just happy to have it cut. And that poor little old garden looks pitiful. But I'm so happy right now planning what I'm going to plant in it. I see 2024 hopefully as being an excellent year to garden.